Welcome, everyone, to the Mount Diablo Unified School District Governing Board meeting, March 16th, 2021, and it is 5:35 p.m. Can we have our interpreter please give the instructions for the translation?
Si usted quiere escuchar en español, por favor, busque el botón que tiene un icono en forma de círculo que dice Interpretation. O desde un celular, oprima sobre los 3 puntos y luego oprima sobre Language Interpretation. Eso es todo.
Gracias, muchas gracias. Bienvenido a todos. All right, so welcome everyone. We are, a number of us from the board are doing this meeting from the boardroom, so please excuse any technology issues that we may encounter. It looks like we've worked them all out, so I think we should be okay. But we're figuring it out. So, all right, so we will start with 6.0 preliminary business, the Pledge of Allegiance and roll call. So please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Thank you, everyone. All right. So we will start with roll call. Let's start with student trustee Michelle Alas.
Here.
Thank you. Trustee Nzewi.
Here.
Trustee Mason.
Here.
Trustee McFerrin.
Here.
And Trustee Mayo.
Here.
All right, I am also present, so all board members are here. Thank you very much. 6.2 is review and potential approval of the agenda, which is very short. This special board meeting. Does anyone have any need to make any changes to the agenda, or do we have a motion to approve?
I will make a motion. We approve it as presented.
Second.
All right, thank you. Motion by Trustee Mason, second by Trustee McFerrin. Let's see, we'll take it to a vote. Trustee Alas.
Yes.
Trustee Mason.
Yes.
Trustee McFerrin.
Yes.
Trustee Nzewi.
Yes.
And Trustee Mayo.
Yes.
I also vote yes. Thank you. Motion passes 5-0 with concurrence from our student board member. All right, so next we have the report out of action taken in closed session. 7.1 was negotiations. The board may discuss negotiations or provide direction to its representatives regarding represented employees pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6. Agency negotiators, Dr. Adam Clark, Dr. John Rubio, Dr. Lisa Gonzalez, Dr. Wendy Aguili, Jennifer Sachs, Dr. Dan Scudero, and legal counsel. Agencies Medea, DMA, MDSPA, CSEA, CST Local 1, and Teamsters Local 856. The board received information. And thank you very much to all of our negotiating team for all of your hard work. All right, so next we'll move to public comment. Public comment, the public may address the board regarding any item within the jurisdiction of the Board of Education of the Mount Diablo Unified School District that is not on this agenda. These presentations are limited to 3 minutes each, or a total of 30 minutes for all speakers, or the 3-minute limit may be shortened. If there are multiple speakers on any one subject, the public comment period may be moved to the end of the meeting. Speakers are not allowed to yield their time. So how many public speakers do we have this evening?
Thank you, Board President Cound. This evening we had 29 registrants for in-person public comments.
Okay, given that, if we could please limit public comment to a maximum of 2 minutes each, that should provide enough time for us to hear from everyone on the list, as well as move on with our meeting.
Very good. And so just as a reminder to our public, there are 2 methods of leaving a public comment. You may email boardcomments@mdusd.org. That address is boardcomments@mdusd.org. That email address automatically sends the message to all board members, and we also post that publicly as a public record of the comments that we receive. Also, as we're here live in our virtual meeting, we have the ability to host you in person for a public comment. For tonight, we have, as the board president stated, 2 minutes for each comment. Your time begins as you begin speaking. And procedurally tonight, what we ask is that those who wish to speak and those who pre-registered, go ahead and raise your hands as attendees. So I see a few hands already, really just interacting with the menu on your device to raise your hand. And once we have a few, we will admit you just in clusters, and I will call on you to make your comment.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll take them in the order that I see them here. First, we have Sarah Katsikas to be followed by Betsy Lesser. First, Sarah.
All right. This is called Open the Schools, a poem. Open the schools, it's been over a year. Open the schools, my kids are in tears. Open the schools, I'm talking all week. Open the schools, this education model is bleak. California's last? The politics are conspicuous. Leave bad blood in the past, it's getting ridiculous. The children matter most. It's taken far too long. The negligence has been gross. Our children aren't pawns. You want zero risk? That's unrealistic. If we're not full-time soon, we'll all go ballistic. Mental health is declining. Stop making every excuse. This isn't a silver lining. It's a form of abuse. Hybrid support, that's all. This schedule's pathetic. Full-time now and in the fall. Let's not regret it. Do the right thing. Listen to your community. Safe planning and vaccines already working toward immunity. Open the schools. Do you hear our cries? Open the schools, or you'll hear lots of goodbyes. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Your comment has been heard.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Betsy.
Perfect. Well, first, I would like to thank the board for actually taking this vote up last week and having this emergency meeting to proceed the hybrid program. I want to let you guys know, even though the hybrid program is just a start, it's not really an ideal for next school year. I get that this is what we have to do for right now, but it would be great if you all that represent the kids work on getting the kids back to 5 days a week. I know that they're going to have some kind of intervention, counseling during the the end of this year, but we really have to get these kids back to the 5 days a week, to do their job. What else? I would like to really ask you guys to please keep advocating for these children. I mean, that if it weren't for these children, none of you would be sitting on those positions that you guys are in right now, or even have a job, or would we even have a district. The district is formed and it's made for the kids. Make sure that you guys represent them to the fullest. You know about the suicides, about the mental health, about some of the kids that are not even getting the programs or the help that they need. You guys, I'm asking that the board please starts listening to the community and get these kids back to school in a safe manner. And that's all I have to say for now. And that's it.
Thank you, Betsy. Your comment has been heard. Our next two speakers will be Erica Dooley and Ernie Minglana. First, Erica.
Hello, board and Dr. Clark. Good evening. This is my third time speaking now, and I thank you guys for listening to me. As you probably already know and have heard, I was very excited that an MOU was met. And so I've kind of skimmed through it, being that my big thing to focus on is because my son is an IEP student. So on page 14, section 2.28.3, where it says that children, with special education can go 4 days a week. I'm so excited that could be a potential thing that my son can be in school 4 days a week. However, I do have a concern just because it says if space is available. So I just kind of had questions, and I know I do need to speak to my principal, but my thing, I guess, that I'm kind of alarmed at is it says if space is available. So I just want to make sure that, you know, my son is able to go 4 days a week. But other than that, I am very excited, and I thank you guys for all your hard work. You know, I know that it's been very tiring for you guys, and, you know, hearing us day in and day out. So I thank you for your keep up the advocating for our kids. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Erica. Your comment has been heard. Next, we have Ernie Minglana, and he'll be followed by Devin Jackson. First, Ernie.
Good evening. Can you hear me? Thank you. I'd like to thank you for acknowledging last week that there has been negative chatter directed towards your teachers and that you were disappointed in the actions by some of those members of our community. However, your acknowledgement was weakened to the point of meaningless and in bad faith by your follow-up where you said, we all can have our own opinions. That is akin to stand by and stand down. You are engaging in civility politics, long a tool of bureaucratic populism, and it's wrong. You aren't sending a dog whistle, you're blowing a foghorn to the parents who mobilized against their children's teachers. It is not enough to acknowledge. You need to apologize and fully condemn if you want to make this right. Anything less is a tacit at best endorsement of people who've targeted Dan Reynolds, whose family has been cyberstalked, harassed, and seen his character assassinated on social media because of his private choices in his private life. So don't sit there and acknowledge something with words while doing nothing materially to condemn such behavior. As public stewards, you owe us better than that. Moving on. Thank you to those of you who worked with us. I hope that sets an example for the fall and for coming times where we can show the benefit of collective, positive, sometimes gritty, and professional behavior. I'm confident that teachers and students will fully adhere to the safety standards on campuses, but my concern is what will happen off campuses in the weeks ahead. It is my hope that community members remain vigilant in adhering to social distancing, mask wearing, and washing of hands. Let's hope that returning back to campuses with unvaccinated students and hopefully mostly vaccinated adults will not result in further perpetuating the spread of COVID and its variants, since we clearly prefer to operate on hope. Honestly, there are still many of those who genuinely feel that a more sensible and safer course of action would have been to stay hunkered down and plan for the best possible return for everyone in the fall instead.
Pardon my
many, that is
interruption.
still not
You do
the
have
option.
15 seconds.
For many, that is still the safer option. I hope that the fever pitch that has arisen to reopen campuses isn't fatal to any of us. I hope that you don't throw your hands in the air and pretend that you didn't and couldn't see this coming, or that it was a sad inevitability. I hope you and the least marginalized, most privileged, and loudest minority of our community remember their names should you prove wrong, because I'll be back here to read them to you. And if I'm wrong, I'll be back here to state exactly that too. Either way, I'll see you around. Thank you.
Thank you, Ernie. Your comment has been heard. Next, we have Devin Jackson. But first, just a reminder to those who are joining a little bit later, if you wish to make a public comment this evening, please do raise your hand using the menu at the bottom of your device. Devin, go ahead.
Hello, can you all hear me? Hi, good afternoon. My name is Devin Jackson, and I am a 6th grade science teacher at Foothill Middle School. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak tonight. Once MDUSD decides to phase in the hybrid model, I encourage the school board, principals, and teachers to utilize outdoor classrooms at school sites. I do apologize for repeating this again. I know I mentioned this at other board meetings. Outdoor education has been shown to improve academic and health outcomes, decrease stress, and deepen positive connections between children. MDUSD can provide in-person instruction and achieve social distancing by using outdoor spaces at school sites. Currently, we have a diverse working group made up of principals, teachers, PFC, and PTA, PFA, members and parent guardians from many MDUSD schools who are interested in helping their own school and other schools in our district bring classroom learning outside for the better air circulation and better health and safety for students, teachers, administrators, and staff. We welcome anyone passionate about outdoor learning to our working group, as we will be collectively brainstorming, problem solving, and sharing resources across school sites. We are 43 members strong, and we are passionate volunteers. We are currently at several schools, which are elementary and middle school. Once a date has been set with an assessment that we have with this architectural group, we will be working with facilities director and managers to accompany design volunteers on the campus walkthrough, thinking about what shade options are available, solutions for seating and workspace for tables, campus safety, ADA compliance, and
Pardon
not
my interruption.
infringing-
You do have 15 seconds.
Thank you. And not infringing on other subjects and outdoor activities such as those with their PE and PE teachers. So thank you so much. Thank you for letting me speak. Have a wonderful afternoon and evening.
Thank you, Devin. Your comment has been heard. Our next two speakers will be Alina Nicholas and Olivia Oberbrenner. First, Alina. Olivia, are you with us?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we'll have you first.
Okay, great. I first off just wanted to start off and say thank you so much, Dr. Clark, for your charge these last couple of weeks. Your leadership is outstanding. And thank you to Trustee Mason, Count, and Mayo for voting to reopen last week. I know we have a tentative agreement, and for that, I am so excited. My kids finally have a sense of hope. It's looked very dark for a very long time, a year to be exact. Because of this wait, I have had to enroll my kids as a backup plan in private school for next year. We've been in this district for 7 years, but we can't wait around and hope that you guys will return full-time in fall. I'm still hopeful that that will come into place, but with no understanding what fall will look like, there's tons of families. Half the families I know are considering private school for fall because of the unknown of what fall schedule might look like at MDUSD. Some are using 529 money, some are taking out loans to fund it. I urge you, please use this momentum to call for as full-time as possible for fall. I urge you also to follow county and state guidance, not metrics that Medea has come up with. It's also rumored that CDC will be changing spacing rules to 3 feet, which I'm very hopeful for. Please give us confidence that you will have our families back as you'll have their backs and want what's best for our kids, which is full-time in-person school for fall. Again, appreciate the spring few hours that we are getting. It's better than nothing, but please consider full-time for fall. And I'd also like to say for the two trustees, Trustee Nazewi and McFerrin that voted against reopening, I look forward to recall efforts. I will fully be supporting those. Thank you.
Thank you, Olivia, for your comment. Your comment has been heard. Next, let's have Alina Nicholas, please.
Okay, sorry about that earlier. I was advised to speak to you all about what my children need from the district. The answer is simple. They need a full-time, in-person education 5 days a week that supports their social, emotional, and academic learning. The district has clearly neglected to provide this for them, even with the proposed hybrid plan. So I am here to inform you that you can add 2 more children to the list of students who will not return to the district this fall. The actions of the district and Medea this past year has made this decision a very easy one for my family. We will no longer allow outside forces to prioritize the well-being and employment status of adults over the well-being and education of our children. The district continuing to do so is what is truly immoral. I know many families do not have the privilege we do to seek other educational options. And to those families out there, I want you to know that I will continue to advocate for a full return to in-person learning. Anything less is absolutely unacceptable. Thank you.
Thank you, Alina. Your comment has been heard. Our next two speakers will be Linda Ortega and Alicia Cortez. First, Linda.
Good evening. My name is Linda Ortega. I am the Medea Vice President. Since Wednesday, March 10th through last night or this morning, 6 o'clock this morning, both Medea and the MDUSD bargaining teams worked together to complete the hybrid phase MOU. After the many hours of negotiations, I am here to say I'm so relieved that both teams were able to complete a 61-page document. I want to thank our Medea bargaining team, our members, and the MDUSD bargaining team for their work on this document as well. I would also like to suggest that we all take a breath and start the healing process so that we can all focus on the needs of our MDUSD community. And I apologize if I'm stumbling. I am very tired. This has been a very exhausting procedure. And I do want to say a shout out to everybody who supported us and who sent us these well wishes. And I know the school board has also been involved. And thank you to everybody in the community for your kind words. Good night.
Thank you, Linda. Your
Thank
comment has
you.
been heard.
Thank you, Linda Ortega, for your many, many hours working on this agreement. And hope that you do get some sleep, some good rest after all of that hard work. And to your whole team, thank you.
Next, we have Alicia Cortez, to be followed by an alias with the initials AT. First, Alicia.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, okay, okay. All right. Hi, my name is Alicia Cortez, and I am the mother of 2 MDUSD students. And thank you for those of you who voted and used your voices to get our children back in the classroom. The study hall is a great start, in which I know many of us are appreciative. It is a start to helping many of our children who may have started to have a mental health decline from the isolation of a pandemic and staring at a screen all day. However, I am concerned about next school year, and I do believe that our numbers in our county will continue to go down. Everyone will have been vaccinated that will want to be, and herd immunity will have been well established after summer. I do not think that this hybrid model is in the best interest of our children next school year, though. I do believe that an in-person learning 5 days a week is what our children need again. They have already lost an entire school year of proper education, and it does not need to be put off any longer. I understand that certain protocols will still need to be taken, such as spacing out seats or possibly using plexiglass on desks or masks or whatever you may choose, but at least children would still be learning properly. They would also be getting vital social skills needed for good mental health. Another issue I would like to address is children with IEPs. The children have the option to attend 4 days a week if there's availability. But what does this really mean? Does this mean that children are going to be bounced around, or are they going to have more resources than other children? It's very vague, and I think we need some more concrete answers. I would ask you to please also consider in-person learning for the fall and do what's just best to properly educate our children. And just please honor the children with IEPs who are struggling and the children who are struggling in general. And we ask that you just please to do what is best for all the children because they deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you, Alicia. Your public comment has been heard. Our final public commenter is AT. AT, are you with us? Looks like we're not getting a response from AT, but we do have one more hand raised. Let's have that be our final public comment as we approach the 30-minute mark here. Amanda Young. Amanda, are you with us?
Amanda Young or AT, both seem to not be connecting.
Both are not connecting, and we have reached our 6 o'clock time allotted. Board President Cowan, this would mark the conclusion, barring an extension. Although I will note to our public that if you did not get a chance to speak before the board tonight, you do still have the option through the end of the meeting to email the address boardcomments@mdusd.org, and those messages are distributed to each board member automatically.
Mr. Bridenthal, I do see, did we get Emily Merrill? I do see a hand there.
Let me check here. Yes, we can. Let's do that. Emily Merrill, as our final public comment, are you with us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Emily. Go ahead.
Hi, I have 3 students in the Mount Diablo School District. And I actually have a high school student that's in the 11th grade. And really right now, the biggest thing that his concern is that he needs to be able to play his sport. He needs to be in the gym. He needs to be able to have basketball. It's something that's important to him. I think getting these kids back in school, having them have a choice, having them be able to be with their peers, be with their teachers that have been working so hard. They need to be back in school. And in the fall, they have to be back in school. This is not just something to joke around about or have, multiple negotiations. What is there to negotiate? Our children need to be in school having a public education. And I feel like, nobody's advocating for these kids. And it's really hard. I have 6 children. I've had 3 children go through the school district and graduate from MDUSD. And we're contemplating having to leave the county or the state because of it. And I really, really hope that you guys can get your crap together and figure it out. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Your comment has been heard. Board President Count, not seeing any other hands raised, this would mark the end of the public comment period.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Breidenthal, for organizing all of that. And thank you to all who spoke and gave comments at boardcomments@mdusd.org. We really appreciate hearing from everyone. All right, so we'll move on now to the main business of the evening. Item 9.1, the reopening of schools timeline. And I will turn it over to you, Dr. Clark.
Yes, thank you, President Count and board members and public and staff who's on this call. I just want to acknowledge the hard work that took place from everyone involved to come up with the tentative agreement. And we are still following county guidance. And as we all know, as we've lived through this pandemic, is that guidance often changes. And so we will be keeping a close eye on the guidance, and we are definitely keeping a close eye on guidance as it relates to fall. But in the meantime, we really want to address the needs of our students right now. So we were thrilled that a tentative agreement was reached, and so tonight we are going to tentatively discuss the timeline, just so that families can begin to prepare and give our staff time to prepare. But the tentative agreement still needs to be voted on and ratified by the bargaining team and their members, and then we will need to bring that document to the board for formal approval. So with that said, I see Dr. Rubio on the call. Is there anything you would like to share, Dr. Rubio?
Yes, good evening, everybody. I know this has been a very difficult, long road for everyone. It is required just for our parents and community to, I think they know, but I'll just say it just based on the public comments, that when there are major changes to the nature of the job for our employees, we are required by law in California to negotiate. I know that we have all very different perspectives, and it takes a lot of work to find middle ground, and it was a very important item, and that our students are really the core of our critical work, and we're happy to have agreement with the teachers union, and we expect that the members will be looking at that agreement over the next 2 days to consider it for ratification, and that the school board will be back together by the end of the week to also vote on it. And just very happy to be able to report this out to everybody. Thank you.
Yes, and I just want to just announce what the new timeline entails, and what that entails is that our target date for an agreement to be reached and to start school was March 22nd. However, with the amount of time that it takes to ratify that agreement and to have the board take action on that, we are looking to start school for preschool, transitional kindergarten, first grade, and second grade on Thursday, March 25th. So just 3 days after our target date. And then the following good news is on Monday, the 29th, we're looking for all students at all grade levels to return. Now, clearly our groups of students who return will be broken up into an A group and a B group, but the 29th is the day that we will start transitioning all kids back onto our campuses. So with that, I'll entertain any questions from the board or allow the board if they would like to wish to make comments or state anything publicly. I think at this time we can do that.
Thank you so much. I'll first open it up to any of the other trustees for your comments or questions. Trustee Mason.
First, I want to thank all of the negotiators on both sides. I also want to stress the timeline. It's March 25th, March 29th, and the other important date, I think, is June 30th, which is when this whole agreement expires. And I want to just thank everyone for hanging in there with us. I'm excited to start seeing kids get back to school. And we will be, the only reason we didn't meet our target is because there's procedures that have to happen in a timely manner, and we can't jump the gun before our other folks have made their decision. But I thank everybody that was involved in making this happen. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Trustee Mason. Other trustees. Trustee Ellis.
Thank you to all of our bargaining units and all of our teams. I received an email, I believe it was from Dr. Clark at like 5:40 in the morning, and it was very crazy to me that everyone stayed up for so many hours. So thank you, Dr. Rubio and Linda Ortega and everybody who participated in those. I know it was a strenuous process, but everything is for our students and for our teachers. And I think that it is very important that everyone remembers that. I had a couple of questions, but my first one is regarding the fact that we as a district and districts in California, and it's kind of a nationwide effort to open up schools by a certain date. So we are trying to meet, that deadline for SB 86 funding. So I'm not expecting really like a financial report or anything of that nature, but I was just wondering if you had like a brief estimate of what we as a district could get from that SB 86 funding, and then just where it would go since we're reopening and eligible for that.
Yes, so I don't have any of those specifics right now. We are, if we do indeed open, we are eligible to apply for additional one-time funding. And as we get closer to that time, if that does so happen, then we will most definitely be transparent with that process and be transparent with any sort of additional funding that we receive. And the funding will go towards supporting the reopening, ensuring that we can support our students and make sure that we're meeting the needs of each and every student in our district. So thank you for that question.
Thank you, Trustee Ellis. Did you say you had another question as well, or?
I have a few, and that is regarding like the brief block of like the instruction time block, because I know that there are a couple teachers and administrators I spoke with. As soon as I saw the MOU, I spoke with a couple of my teachers at the high school level at Northgate and was like, okay, now we have this, we have good news and progress. So now what is the next step just at the at the site level. And I know that at least at my site, Ms. Cooper is looking to build a very robust plan, hopefully for that 2-hour block where students, and I know in the MOU in those last couple of pages, it says what can happen, which is intervention and enrichment for students. But I was wondering, Ms. Cooper had the idea, and this is something that at least at the secondary school level, might be relevant to other sites as to whether, and I don't think it specifies in the MOU, say that you have like an interval of time, like 2 weeks. After like a 2-week period of time, can students switch a cohort for like another stable 2-week period of time for some sort of other enrichment type? Because staying with one teacher and staying with one class is hard at the high school level when you may need help in a variety of classes. So that was like a plan that was brought up. So just what is the leeway that the districts, the sites can have in that 2-hour block?
Right. So first of all, great question. You know, our principals and site administrators and teachers, for that matter, and also support staff, we have been itching to receive the parameters of which we can operate on. And so now that we have those parameters, again, they were reached at 5:30 this morning, and so you can imagine the after the excitement, you can imagine the amount of work now that is going to go into making sure that we have systems and protocols set up that are going to support students with what their needs are. And definitely at the secondary level, whether there's opportunities for students to come in and participate in hands-on activities that they cannot do through distance learning, or whether they can get needed social emotional support or academic support, or if they're able to engage in other sort of project-based learning. And so all of that will be worked out in the next week or so, and we will be ready to go. And so I'm really glad to hear that Ms. Cooper is already working on that. I know that all of our principals are starting to develop their plans. We're working on staffing right now, so there's just a lot of moving parts at this particular time. But Thursday morning, we will have an all administrator meeting throughout the district, and we will start to hash all of this out. So I know you're very enthusiastic to get started, and I'm sure that you, as the student representative, I'm sure many students are relying on you to sort of lead the way in this process, and we will be very soon, we will be laying all of that out. So I want to again thank you for the question, and just know that staff is eagerly planning and getting ready to welcome kids back onto our campuses. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, should we open it up to some other trustees? Trustee Nzewi, I saw your hand there. Go ahead.
Good evening. I'd like to, again, gush all my gratitude and thanks to everyone who spent all of these like crazy hours to get to an agreement. I don't think, for all the people who are frustrated, for all the people who are happy, no matter what side you're on, you have no idea. Like, they have no idea. So thank you to everyone who sat around the Zoom table for all of these days leading up until today. I'm very happy and excited. And I just like to take the moment to clarify for all those who say I voted against reopening. I did not vote against reopening. I voted against setting a target date. And today we are changing that target date. But I can confidently vote for it because an agreement has been reached that lays out all of the health and safety measures, especially. It is an extremely specific document about what you can expect as a parent and what your student can expect and what everyone in our campus communities can expect. And I think that's something to be extremely proud of. And it's something that gives us great guidance and instruction, because it is not just, let's go back to the school campus. There was so much thought and care put into this. So I'm really proud of this, and I'm really happy to vote for the target date that exists in the agreement, because we won't have to change it again. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Nzewi, very much. Other trustees, questions, comments? Trustee McFerrin.
I would also like to start by really giving a heartfelt thank you to both of our bargaining teams. I was thinking of everyone last night as I was going to bed. I slept uneasily, but I slept through the night. And so you were bargaining while I was sleeping. And for that, I'm incredibly, I understand it and I appreciate it and I'm grateful. And so thank you for putting together an agreement that puts the safety and academic and emotional needs of our students at the center. I know it was a tremendous effort. In the district where I work, our MOU is something like 10 pages. And I work in a high school district with 5 sites, and we are a large and diverse district. And that's, I think, really reflected in this document. And I also want to thank President Cowan for her some of her comments at the last meeting that I've really been thinking about over the last week. She made a statement about how this the debate on reopening our school campuses is often unfairly set up as a binary about being either kind of for it or against it. And I see this in so many of my emails too. It's kind of, is it science? Is it fear? Which for me, I think, do I have to pick? I'm a little bit fearful, about teaching in a hybrid model and all these other things, but of course I also believe in science. And so I really appreciated that. And I was thinking about that a lot. And I wanted to clarify my feelings on reopening, which is that I want our students to have the opportunity to return to campuses as quickly as they can in a safe manner. My students have that opportunity in Acalanes. Today was my very first day seeing students. And I want to say that just because I wanted everyone to know that it was a really wonderful experience to be in a classroom with students again. And so I'm really looking forward to our students in MDUSD to have that opportunity, and for our teachers, because I know there can be maybe some hesitancy. It's a little strange. It's different than it was when we left, but it's a joyful experience. And I'm so very excited about this MOU.
Thank you so much, Trustee McFerrin. Other questions, comments? Okay, well, I would just like to say also thank you to our tireless bargaining teams, both from Medea and from our district team, as well as our other bargaining units as well, who have been bargaining during this time to make sure that their agreements are in place. And we'll be announcing many of those very soon here too. So for all of our employees, our goal is to make sure that everyone is safe, everyone has clarity on what's happening next and with the hybrid, and that we're all working together to serve our students and to get them back on campus, those that want to be, and to continue to serve our full-time distance learning students at the same time. We really have a responsibility to all of our students. We know Mount Diablo has 13,000 students who requested in-person hybrid this spring. And it's not just a study hall. I know people like to say that, but clearly it's, and it's stated in this MOU that it is for academic help and enrichment, as well as for social emotional learning. And most importantly, to make that eye-to-eye connection, the face-to-face connection between people, between students with each other, students with their teachers. That is the thing that we've been missing the most, and that has caused, a lot of the social emotional anguish out there, not only for our students, but for adults in our communities as well. And so I look forward to seeing the creativity that our teachers and our staff bring as they design what is going to happen in those in-person times. Hopefully it's off of a screen if at all possible. I know there's times where you might need technology, you might need a screen for the particular intervention that you're doing, but I've heard just out at the sites that I've been at some wonderful ideas, at Mount Diablo Elementary, there was a teacher who was talking about how she can't wait to do poetry in the garden. And I just think there are so many of those types of examples. At Oak Grove Middle School, they were talking about how the 8th grade class does an International Baccalaureate community project every year. And now that there will be some in-person opportunities, what a great use of that time. So I'm really, really excited for this to move forward. I hope that our teachers are able to move forward and vote to approve it. And then I plan to call a special board meeting for this Friday with the hopes that we will be able to then ratify the agreement at that point in time. So I think the next step here is do I hear a motion to approve the new target timeline, which would be Thursday, March 25th. Oh, I'm getting an echo now. Thursday, March 25th for the pre-K to second and special day classes. And then Monday, March 29th for all other grades 3 through 12. And we would be voting on this timeline as our new target timeline, of course, pending the approval and ratification of the MOU.
So moved.
All right. Thank you, Trustee Mason. We have a motion.
Seconded.
Second by Trustee McFerrin. All right. Any other discussion or questions before we take that to a vote?
If I may?
Yes, Dr.
Yes,
Clark.
Again, I don't want to belabor the point, but I just want to say that all of this hard work that went into this was for one purpose, and that was to serve our students. And, again, I am heartbroken that so many preschoolers, transitional kindergartners, first graders have not had an opportunity to come on our campuses. And to the parents who have struggled in trying to support those students, my deepest apologies go out to you that we all had to go through this pandemic together. I do believe that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and with vaccinations happening and with our tiers improving in the county, and with the committed adults within this district, we will do the best we can to serve your students. And so I apologize for the delays. I apologize that we have so many guidelines to follow, but in the end, we are doing all of that so that we can set up the best environment to support all kids. And I really want to recognize the efforts of this board who really have kids and the well-being of kids at the core of all that they do. So again, thank you to the community for your support, and thank you to this board. And we are going to get our kids back on campuses, and we are looking so forward to that. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Clark. All right, let's move that motion to a vote. We'll start with Student Board Member Trustee Ellis.
I'm very excited to vote yes.
All right. Trustee Mason.
Yes.
Trustee Nzewi.
Yes.
Trustee McFerrin.
Yes.
Trustee Mayo.
Yes.
And I also vote yes. So we have a full unanimous vote, 5-0, with concurrence from our student board member approving the timeline. So thank you everyone very, very much. I'm very excited for what's coming next. I know the MOU is full of details of all of the safety precautions that we're going to add to our sites in addition to everything that's already there, as well as training and planning. So there's much work to be done to move this into action, but looking forward to all of that and supporting it in any way we can as a district. So with that, did anyone have any other questions or comments on this topic of the reopening of schools timeline?
So yes, President Count, I just wanted to confirm that we are going to tentatively schedule a special meeting for Friday, and and hopefully the agreement gets ratified, and we may, at that same meeting, we may bring forward any other agreements that we have from our other bargaining groups. And so I know that our employees are eager to start this process, and so we will wait for those documents to get signed, sealed, and then we will deliver them to this board.
Fantastic. Yes, exactly. So our next meeting will be set for Friday, and we look forward to hopefully being able to ratify this agreement and any other agreements that are ready at that time. Tristan, what time on Friday would work, Dr. Clark?
Since it is Friday, we will probably shoot for as early as possible, and so we will consult with board members offline, and we will post it and make sure that we get it out to the community before the 24-hour deadline. So we will get that out tomorrow at some point.
Thank you very much, Dr. Clark. We look forward to that. And I assume that the wording of our motions for that will also make sure that we are in line with getting approval for SB 86 funding as well, and that all of that is looked into ahead of time. Yes. Okay, great. Thank you very much. I think there was one other question that came up from the public that I just wanted to put out there. I don't know if you have an answer for it right away, but it's something that I'm seeing from a couple of places was if a student has an IEP, but normally they would be in general education classes, they're not in an SDC class, would they be able to come to campus on March 25th or 26th so that they're able to prepare for being on campus with their general education class on March 29th?
Yeah, so we'll have to address that response. Again, this is still a moving document, and it hasn't been ratified, but we will provide a response.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, any other questions, concerns? All right, with that, we will move to adjournment. We're adjourning the meeting here at 6:27 p.m. And I get to use the gavel for the very first time. Meeting adjourned.